programmer.com. And today I want to talk about a few things you might need to give up if you want to get that job as a developer. Okay. And specifically, I have 4 things that I want to share with you today that I think you should consider giving up if you want to make that a reality for yourself. Otherwise, you might be stuck in that place where you can't make progress in coding and you're stuck. You can't build projects on your own and you're unable to get a job. You're unable to get that interview. And really, you're not happy with where you might want to be. Okay. If any of those things resonate with you, then in today's video and today being on this live session with you guys, I want to engage with you a lot on the chat as well. And I'll do a Q&A more so at the end. I want to address all of those things for you. Cool. With that said, what I want you to do right now is click the button below and smash that like button. It helps this video go out everywhere. And let's just get straight into it. Cool. So thing number 1 that I want you guys to focus on is let's talk about this. All right. This is thing number 1. This is the first thing I want you to look into giving up. Because if you don't, you're going to be stuck here forever. Okay? I talk to my friends and jokingly I say, tutorial hell is a place where bad developers go after they die. So you don't want to be stuck in tutorial hell. You're not going to make progress and you're going to be very upset with how you're moving forward. So for those of you who know what I'm talking about, let me know in the comments below if you suffer from tutorial hell or you experience it in your life. And I would love to start bringing that up too. Actually, I want to make it a little bit more engaging and have you guys involved in the process. So do let me know. Let me see if I can bring up comments here. Hey, what's up, Mile? Mile says hello. Ooh, this is huge. Let me make that a little bit smaller. What is up, Mile? How are you doing, my friend? Great to have you here. We have Light. I'm looking for remote jobs or freelancing. Great. Stay tuned because I'm going to provide you guys with a lot of information. We have people from Cameroon. Welcome. Mile is from Bosnia. Hey, how's it going? Awesome. Cool. So let's jump into it. So let's talk about this, okay? Tutorial hell. A lot of you are stuck in it. If you're stuck in it and not making progress, let me know in the comments below because I want to see that from you. I want to see which ones of you feel like that, right? And this is where really you're just going in circles and watching content, right? You're watching one video here, learning something, watching a tutorial here, boom, boom. And you're just repeating yourself again and again. And it's this cycle of death, right? We have a lot of people who are this is resonating with. I can see that in the chat. Tutorial hell. Rakshi, what do you mean by tutorial hell? What that basically means is you're watching tutorial after tutorial on JavaScript, on Python, on C++, on React, but you're not really making your own projects. You're not really making your own coding. You're not solving your own problems, and you're just kind of lulled into this false sense of you feeling like you're good. I joke about this and I go, I play chess a lot. And whenever I watch the #1 chess player in the world, Magnus Carlsen, play, I go, man, I can play just like that too. When I'm watching him, I'm like, man, now, these moves look so simple. It makes so much sense. And then when I go to play those same moves, guess what happens? I get my butt handed to me. I lose. And I go, wait, I'm not Magnus Carlsen. Okay, cool. Let me keep working at this. So this might happen to you where you're watching maybe me coding, some other developer coding online on YouTube, and you go, wow, they make it look so easy. I can do this. This is so easy. Then you go and do it, and it doesn't feel like that, okay? Let me see here. Yep, Mario says, I am in tutorial hell from Udemy, but it's because I don't know enough to build something with Python. Can you tell me what do I need to do? Okay, Aryan says, yes, I'm stuck at this hell. Miles says, you're right, Kazi. And we have another Mario here. Hi, nice to meet you. He says, I'm watching it from Udemy, and it's because I don't know enough to build something with Python. All right, and I love Python and data science. So let's just say you love Python. Okay, you could love JavaScript, you could love whatever. Let's talk about why this is happening to you and why you feel like you're not making progress. So let's go through Mario's situation right now. Okay, so let's go through Mario's situation. Is there a way I can, is there an easy way to cut all this? Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so we have Mario here. Okay, and instead of this going in the straight line where he's making progress, what's happening with Mario, right? Let's say he's a complete beginner right now. I'm just going to put a B, or like, let's just say level 0, and he wants to get to level 10, and he wants to make this progress happen. Well, he's going to be, instead of going in the straight path, what's happening with Mario right now is going, ooh, I'm going to watch this tutorial, then I'm going to watch this one. Oh, this is great. Boom, this is good, this is good, this is good. And then when you connect all these dots, it's basically this weird zigzag crap happening here, okay? And he's actually not making forward progress, but it feels like progress, so it's fun, it feels great, but he's really just connecting the dots in these really interesting ways, okay? And that's what we call tutorial hell. Now, Mario, do you want to know how you get out of that tutorial hell? Would you like to know that? Ooh, Anto says, this is interesting, I want to address this. And he says, I got my first React Dev internship because of your channel and building your projects, Kazi. I've learned many things from your channel, like approaching towards building projects. Thanks a lot, and the team. You're very welcome, and that makes me feel really, really happy to hear that. So thank you for sharing that. That is huge. Let's give it up for Anto in the chat, guys. Yo, let's go. That is freaking awesome. Wow, that is brilliant. So going back to that, right? Mark's point is if he wants to make that progress, what he has to do is go through something that feels like no progress and feels like a lot of pain, but he actually needs to code himself. Okay? Meaning that even if it feels painful for you right now, that you actually need to code. And you actually, question, if any of you want to jump on the live with me, I would love to do that, but only if you post an intelligent question in here, or a challenging question, and if you post it in the chat below, we'll bring you on the live with me. Okay, so if any of you guys could maybe help do that, that'd be amazing. Maybe get a message in community or something, and then I can just send them the link for eCam, like guest link. You can just send, and then they can jump on. So I'd love to chat with you and see where you guys are stuck, so then I can help out. Okay. What to code? Anupam says, I'm working in Android for 5 to 6 months and a bit on Firebase. What to do next for database and backend without Firebase? I don't actually know anything about backend. Please help. So again, watch our channel. That's going to give you a lot of insight on backend. Okay. Cool. So going back to that, make sure that you are actually coding yourself. That's going to be a very important thing. And the problem with coding yourself is it feels like you're making no progress, okay? But what's happening is you're making this tiny bit of progress, which is really hard to see because you're like, man, I'm not a 10 yet. Oh, man, I can't code like Kazi yet. Or, man, I can't code like, Traversy Media yet. Some of you guys, shout out to Traversy Media. You guys might watch his content. He has great content. And you might be like, man, I can't code like that yet. But really, when you look at it, you're making progress, but it feels boring. It feels like you're not going anywhere. So one of the things I always say is, how many hours are you doing coding? Not how many hours are you following a tutorial. How many hours are you coding? And that also means you looking up things online. So how many hours are you coding and then Googling answers to solve your problems to get in the way? Maybe you're like, hey, I'm going to make a tic-tac-toe game today with Python. Or maybe you're like, hey, I want to make something simple with Python. How many hours are you spending researching? How many hours are you spending thinking about it? Maybe you could even have a coach that can like coach you and guide you along the way, where they're letting you do most of the thinking. So for example, think about it like this, okay? When you go to the gym and you have a coach at the gym and they spot you, or a friend at the gym, and you can't lift that weight up and they just give you that little spot, let me ask you this. Did they lift the entire weight for you? No. Did they do everything for you? No. Who did most of the work? You. They just came in and gave you that little extra push. That's what you want to replicate in the world of software development and coding. When you are just following a tutorial, it's almost like thinking that if your coach lifts for you, you're going to get jacked. That's not going to happen. Okay? So where it's going to be the best is if your brain gets that time under tension, which feels like a lot of pain. So if you have a coach there working with you, and I'd love to work with some of you guys online, like maybe some of you guys are struggling. And one of the things, guys, I would love to do is bring somebody on and maybe even work with them live on coding skills, or just, just connecting with you and seeing where I can help you. Okay, Karen asks, hey, you say to practice and code, but I'm always in a dilemma about what to code and what to practice. So that's a great question. So I think, Karen, think about, like, for example, what type of apps do you like? What type of things do you like, right? So for example, you might think, hey man, let me go on to let me pop this up. Okay. Here's what I recommend. Find inspiration somewhere. So you might go, hey, let me actually go to dribble.com. Okay. And look at inspirations here. What should I code today? So again, some of this might be outside of your league, as in it might be too difficult. Okay, fine. But find things you might be able to do. Okay, so for example, you could look up like beginner coding projects for JavaScript. So let's actually look at this. This is great. All right. And let's click on 17 JavaScript projects for beginners to perfect your coding. All right. And now I would go from here. Vanilla JavaScript stopwatch. So do we have an example of it? All right. Try to code this yourself. You might be like, I can't code the whole thing. Okay. Fine. But can you write the word stopwatch at the top? Can you do that? Can you write? I think that would be cool. Even if I try to code these with you guys, at some point, it could be cool. But can you write the word stopwatch at the top? In your JavaScript app. Cool. Can you write the words vanilla JavaScript stopwatch? Cool. Can you write that 00:00? Cool. Can you make this button right there where it says start? And maybe let me zoom in so you guys can see it more clearly. Okay. Now that button start, what's the color? How come I can see through that? Oh, how do you make a see-through button color? Oh, that might be called transparent, right? See-through button color. Okay, let's go here. See-through button color. Let's go right there. And we got transparent. Okay, let's zoom in onto that. Boom. All right, there we go. We got transparent right here. That's the background color. Ah, okay, that's how I get this. Stop, reset. Great. You've made great progress so far. Now, you might want to add functionality to it. So when I hit start, the seconds start counting. Oh, how do I do that? Look that up. Right? How do I change my page based on clicking a button? Oh, there's something called JavaScript button events. Ooh, there's something called event listeners. What the heck is event listeners? Then study that. Then come back to your app and make that happen. Then go back to that tutorial and make that happen. Guys, make your training specific. If you want to get good, let me put it like this. If LeBron James wants to get good at shooting 3-pointers. Let me give you guys choices. Should he A, be focusing on doing yoga / meditating? B, let's see. B would be doing juggling on a unicycle. Okay. And C, practicing shooting hoops. Which one would help LeBron James get better at shooting 3-pointers? Would it be A? Would it be B? Or would it be C? Which one? Love it. Okay. So we're getting C, C. We're getting a bunch of people saying C. Cool. So if that's C, right, then basically what that means is start shooting more. All right. For you, what would that mean as a coder? More coding. Okay. And what I mean by this is there's something called GPP, right? General performance something. And then there's SPP in training, your physical body. Okay. So I think that the best benefits that are going to come to you are going to be from specific training. Yes, certain amount of general training will be good. Certain amount of meditation will help you. Certain amount of sleep will certainly help you. But if you want to get better at shooting hoops, you need to train in a specific way. Where you guys go wrong, where you fall into tutorial hell, is because you start learning all kinds of general concepts without a very specific goal. So your training should follow from your project. So let's say Mark was working on this stopwatch project. He gets stuck on event listeners. Then, or Karen gets stuck on event listeners. Then Karen goes on Udemy or on YouTube. And then Karen types in event listeners and watches that tutorial. And as soon as he got his breakthrough from that tutorial, he gets back and he codes that part in. Because if Karen doesn't do that, he will never get better at coding. Does that make sense? Cool. So that's why that's really, really important. Okay. So you want to have specific training. The more specific it is, the more benefit you're going to get out of it. This is just true in all sports everywhere, right? And you should look at coding really like a sport. It's no different than a sport. So, you know, if you're training for Olympic weightlifting, if you're training for squatting, if Lance Armstrong is training for a bicycling event, if you're training for a triathlon or a marathon, whatever it is, how you're going to get your mile times down is by running more miles. How you're going to get your swimming time down is by doing more laps. So same thing here. And then minimize the time between learning and coding and keep coding as much as you possibly can. Okay? And pick beginner projects that you can do. Okay, let me then work on this project. Next up, I'm going to work on a calculator. Okay, then let me work on a drum kit. All right? So these are example projects for you to go through, work on, and add to, okay, what's a palindrome? How can I make a palindrome? Cool. All right. You can also go and look into like JavaScript algorithm problems. Let's go beginner coding exercises. Okay, so coding exercises is another great way to go and improve. So let's go here. Boom, you have JavaScript exercises. This is another way for you to get a lot better at coding, okay? So JavaScript basic, 150 exercises with the solution. Okay, so what's the first exercise? Write a program to display the current day and time in the following format. Today is Tuesday. Current time is 10:38 p.m. Okay, so how would you actually write that out? You can go to the editor and they even allow you to code right here. Cool, go right here and code. But the more you practice, more time spent here, the better you will get. But if you're spending just more time learning for the sake of learning, you're going to have a lot of trouble, right? So for some of you, you're struggling with functions, right? Even some of you in our Full Stack Mastery Bootcamp, you're struggling with functions and things like that. So look that up. Hey, how do I freaking improve, how do I improve functions? Do more exercises that require you to use a function. Write a JavaScript function that checks whether a pass string is a palindrome or not. Write a JavaScript function that generates all combinations of a string. Write a JavaScript function that returns a pass string with letters in alphabetical order. Okay, and start going through them. Oh, how can I turn this phrase into the quick brown fox? You might learn how to use the .to uppercase in JavaScript. Oh, cool. I can do that. Great. Okay. Let's see. How do you deal with self-doubt as a beginner? Love from Switzerland. That is an awesome question. I'll actually address this in my bonus. I have 4 points for you guys, 4 things I need you to give up. But this is going to be a bonus 5th one that I'll share with you guys afterwards. Okay, so let's see. Sharing of the link. Let me see how I can do that. Copy. Hello. Okay, cool. So, yeah, we're sharing a link, meaning somebody might be able to jump on with us. Okay. So yeah, we're gonna have one person be able to jump on the live with me and have an interview. And either maybe I might be able to put you in a coding hot seat, so we're coding together, or I might just have a conversation with you. But we're only gonna bring on one person. So if you want to do that, then look at the YouTube chat, and there might be a way for you to get into it. Okay, so my team is gonna be writing from the Clever Programmer channel. So look out for what they're saying and follow those instructions. But anyways, that's really how you get past the tutorial hell phase, okay? Tutorial hell phase, you can overcome that by doing specific training, all right? And with that, you can actually defeat this. Cool? There's a lot more that I can get into in this, but I think for now, I'm going to leave the tutorial hell part at that. Hopefully, you guys got a ton of value out of it, okay? So they just dropped, they're dropping the thing. So if you send a message to that, you're going to be able to, yeah, just text us at that number. Okay, it's in the Zoom chat or in the YouTube chat, my bad. I'll write that number right here as well. 8817. That's it, okay? So that's the number. Shoot us a text here, maybe hashtag interview or something like that, right? Or hashtag, yeah, hashtag YT interview. That would tell me you're coming from YouTube and you want to do an interview, and then my team will be able to reach out to you and speak with you, okay? So go ahead and do that. Cool. Number 2, okay? This is the second thing I want to jump into. So number 2, I'm going to talk about, this is the next thing you have to give up, all right? So we're going to talk about this, social media, and I will call this a dopamine detox, okay? A higher level term, that's going to be dopamine detox. All right. So some of you might know what this means, but I'm going to get into it a little bit. What is happening really when you're consuming all this content and you're watching all these tutorials and you're learning from other people and just consuming social media, when your consumption is really high, you're kind of like this drug addict. And it happens to me too all the time. And even last week, I had to go to Portland with my team because I was performing so poorly. That's why you guys didn't see me on YouTube. My mental game was really, really bad, really awful. Okay. And I was having trouble just going in a happy way. I was like losing my happiness. I was losing my focus. I was watching chess until like 12 a.m. or 1 a.m. every day. I was playing chess so much. I mean, I love chess, but like it got to an unhealthy amount. And if it wasn't chess, then I was watching like Dragon's Den or Shark Tank and just watching people pitch. And I just became this fucking zombie. Oh, damn. I tried so hard to not curse. Okay, I'll keep it going though. Just one. Doesn't count if it's just one. So I became this zombie, you know, and my performance just went from like this epic performance to just like plateau, like freaking zombie, you know. I don't know if this happens to you guys. Just reading the comments, right? And no progress every day, just plateaued. And I was like, why is that happening? Why am I experiencing that and feeling that? And what I needed to actually go away from everything for a little bit. So we went to Portland with my team, and I just had to have fresh perspective. I had to be alone by myself for a little bit too. I did a lot of reading. And one of the main things I did was like, I got away from a lot of dopamine, right? So when you're consuming social media, including when you're watching tutorials, you're getting these dopamine hits, these spikes, and they make you feel really good. When you're watching somebody code and do a tutorial, you're feeling satisfied. You feel happy. You feel like you did it. You feel like you learned something. And oftentimes it's good. Sometimes it can be a trap. When it's a trap is when your performance against the amount you're learning is disproportionately more learning and a lot less your own improvement. Okay, so let me say that again. The only time it's dangerous is when your performance, proportionally speaking towards your learning, is way lower than the amount that you're learning. Something weird is happening there, okay? So let's say you're like learning and going crazy, but then this other chart, your performance is like going down, right? This is your learning and this is your performance. Something is wrong. And that's where tutorial hell is really tutorial hell, okay? But if your learning is increasing and your performance is increasing, and this usually happens when your amount of action is more than the amount you're learning. So for example, 20% of you should be learning, and then 80% should be you applying that learning, okay? So you're not doing passive learning anymore. Passive learning versus active learning, okay? You're doing active learning. And this is really the key to getting better at coding and actually making real progress. Cool. I think when they come into the chat, it'll tell me. Yeah. Anto says, from your past videos, I learned the importance of research, reading docs, looking for a library which does the work I need. People need to know this. Speak about the importance of this, Kazi. Yeah, so that research and that reading docs, looking for a library, that's really important. But you just have to make sure you don't get into the passive learning mode of it. You're doing the active learning of it, meaning you're in your project and then you're reading the docs and then you're applying the things you learn from that doc. And then, you know, you're going to GitHub library, getting the code that you need, bringing it into your project, and then just continuously making progress. That's active. So as long as you're active in that way, that's really, really good. Okay. So with dopamine detox, what I basically mean is reduce the amount you're consuming down to 20% or less. So what does consumption look like? When you're scrolling through on your Instagram, right? So let me put this. Scrolling on IG, that's consumption. Okay, these are examples of consumption. So that might not be adding value to your life. Okay, let me move that here. Let me move this here so you guys can see it a little bit. Okay. Here's another example of consumption. You have, let's remove this comment so it's less distracting. Okay, scrolling on YouTube and just consuming everything, consumption. Okay, watching tutorials is consumption that can make you feel good. And if you're not honest with yourself, you're not going to be making progress, and you're going to be doing a lot more learning than you are doing. And at that point, it is consumption and it is just giving you dopamine hits. So what I urge you to do is actually go and challenge yourself, and maybe just do a challenge for 7 days, right? For the next 7 days, starting today, can you go and drop your usage of consumption? Drop your usage of just taking in information from outside sources, or at least in that brain dead space. When you're reading a book, you're very actively thinking about something and learning. But a lot of this is eating up your time. And when that happens, you're not ever going to be in a state to want to do active learning. You're going to continuously keep doing passive learning, okay? And we want to pull you out of this. This is really, really bad. This is dangerous. This is where you're never going to make any progress. Yeah. Cool. All right. So that's kind of the thing that I wanted to say about this, okay? This is for you guys, number 2, the dopamine detox, okay? Let's get into number 3. This is the thing that if you want to get a job as a developer, you have to give this up, okay? And these aren't things I'm just telling you that are going to be helpful to you. If you're serious about these goals, this is just what you have to do. Don't do them and don't get goals. Don't do these things and don't get the results. And then also don't be surprised for the work that you didn't do to not get the results that you wanted, right? So like, don't let that surprise you. But if you want to achieve these results and you want to get these goals and you want to make it happen, this is what you have to do. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck exactly where you're at. Some of you might be happy being there, and that's perfectly fine. But for some of you, you might want to, and why I make this content is for that 1% of you that want to actually make that improvement, that want to actually improve and keep like going to that next level every day. Okay, let's go into number 3. And this is going to be the shiny, I'm going to call it framework syndrome. All right. And what this applies to is, you guys might have heard of shiny object syndrome. And what this is basically, there's this weird thing that a lot of developers have, including myself. It happens to me too. Is you always want to keep learning either new languages or new frameworks, and you kind of want to keep doing that all the time. I'm going to learn Python. I'm going to learn JavaScript. Oh. Okay, cool. So let me try this. Somebody actually wants to hop on, so let's take a look if this is going to work or not. Yo, Jay, how's it going? Hold on, I can't hear you for some reason. Huh. Why can't I hear Jay? It's interesting. Jay, is your mic on? Jay, let me try speaking with you afterwards, okay? Maybe we have to figure this out after this call, and then we can speak after. Okay, my apologies. I'm gonna have to cancel this call actually. Okay, cool. So let's go back to this, right? With shiny framework syndrome, a lot of what is happening is you're going from one place to another place and you're learning different languages, right? So this might be you are picking up React, you are picking up Redux, okay? You might be picking up a new language and you're like, man, I really want to learn, how to do headless UI, or I want to learn Tailwind. Ooh, that's going to be really nice. And you keep, Next.js framework, that is fun. So this happens, and what's really happening is you just start going in all these places. But when it comes to your actual software developer skills and your actual fundamental skills, they're not really making any progress. So your actual skills are like kind of plateauing or just kind of growing very linearly, and then they start growing slowly. Because in the start, you were actually focused on just learning JavaScript or just learning that one thing. And then maybe a little bit later, why it starts to plateau is now you're just like in between 5 different frameworks and learning things. So you're making very little progress in all those directions, okay? So I would say this can be a secret killer that's affecting a lot of your guys' performance. I would recommend to avoid this, okay? And the way that I would recommend to avoid this is go deep in one language. Go deep with one framework. So for example, if you pick React, just go deep and start working with React, building projects with React, and use the CSS that you're given with React, or use the React CSS frameworks that it comes with, right? You could do Bootstrap with React. You could do a Material UI with React and a ton of other things. Use that instead of now starting to figure out how to add Tailwind just because Tailwind is hot, okay? But once you get good at React and you're skilled, then it's okay to pick this up. Then it's not that bad. But I think just constantly jumping and not making progress, that's really where the problems come in. Cool. All right. Greg says, my big issue is imposter syndrome. So something cool, Greg, that I wanted to share with you is I'm going to be getting into imposter syndrome as well. Okay, that's going to be the bonus that I have for you guys, and I'm going to be getting into that later. I know somebody else brought this up too, and I'm going to be talking about that last. So I hope this makes sense to you guys. Shiny framework syndrome. Let me know if this is actually helpful to you. And I think the simple way of avoiding it is to stick with the things that you enjoy and go deep with them and start working with those. Cool? Cool. All right. Now let's get into number 4. And this is going to sound weird, but hear me out on this, okay? If you want to get that dream job as a developer, here's another thing you have to give up. Toxic relationships. And this will lead me really nicely into my last bonus point where I'm going to be talking about imposter syndrome. But guys, it affects a lot of us. It's affecting a lot of you. And this is a epidemic, right? This existed before the pandemic. This is going to exist after this pandemic is over. This is there. And this will affect you in a lot of really weird ways. And so if you are in a relationship or you love somebody, if they're family or a partner or a spouse, it might be really hard to just cut that completely out of your life. You know, for some of you, you might actually need to take a good look at that and go, maybe this is bad for me. Okay. And, you know, when I say toxic relationship, it's really like people giving you negativity. They're giving you, they're bringing lots of drama. Okay. They're like, nothing is ever good enough for them. Right. When you leave after hanging out with them, you feel like crap, right? Whether you're in an interaction or before after an interaction, right? You feel patronized with them when you're speaking with them. You feel lower, or you might feel inferior. That might make you feel inferior, right? So if you feel any of these things, I don't know who it is for you, right? For some of you, it might be your parents. For some of you, it might be a friend. For some of you, it might be a partner. And this is what you have to look into. And what this basically means is either you give up them completely. I'm going to keep looking at the comments as well. Hey, Beck Johansson is in the house. Welcome, Beck. Nice having you here. Give up all toxic relationships. Yes, absolutely. Cool. So you might either need to give that up, or if it's really hard for you to be able to do that, I mean, you might just need to do that first of all. So give that shit up, okay? Otherwise, you're going to be stuck there forever, and nothing in life is worse than this because it will eat away at you permanently. But in the case of parents and stuff like that, you might not be able to just give that up for the rest of your life, right? You're bonded by blood. So in that case, what you might want to do is just reduce the time. Okay, so it might not mean cut that relationship permanently. It might mean, okay, look, you're finding yourself spending 5 hours a week with that person. Can we do 1 hour or 1.5 hours? Reduce the amount of time that you're in that energy. Okay, so I think that will help you a lot. And if you are a good influence, then you might want to spend a lot of time with yourself. Okay, and that's something else to look into as well. How do you feel spending time with yourself? How do you feel spending time coding by yourself alone? You know, because if you have trouble sitting alone and sitting by yourself and you can't enjoy your own company, how are you going to become a good developer? Most of your life is going to be you sitting down and coding. Okay, so something to look into. But I think toxic relationships, reduce them. Yo, what's up, Miss Ma'am? Let's go. Wait, wrong sound. Wrong sound. All right, I'll fucking put this. Let's go. Hey. Thank you so much for a whopping, juicy, delicious, incredible $10 donation. Misk Mem says, sunglasses perpetually fall onto video game controllers, proud face. Oh, that's actually not what you said, but you sent a sticker, I imagine. Haha. I'm just audibly reading what that sticker is. That's funny. But yeah, thank you for that. I really, really appreciate it. That means a lot. I never expect anything from you guys, but I do appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Today's coffee is on Misk Mern. You're the man. Cool. By the way, we should have like a membership section. That could be really, really cool. Because on YouTube, you have memberships. And we could have like members, we can bring them on lives and stuff like that. If you want to launch it, you can launch it and I can have Misk or somebody become a member. And we can have like member chat. Yeah. It might be an easy way to do it. I did send a sticker. That's yeah, thank you, man. I really, really appreciate it. That's cool. So toxic relationships, guys, get them out of your life. Cut it or reduce it, but make a decision about it. Now, if you stay in it and you're just loathing, like you're just simmering it in and you're just taking it all in and not doing anything about it, well, then unfortunately, it's your fault, right? If you are not reducing the time that you could be reducing here, then that's on you. So there, you might want to take some responsibility, but I also understand that a lot of negativity can be really, really just screw you over. So get rid of it, reduce it, and you will find that you're going to be a lot happier. When you're a lot happier, coding becomes easier. Sitting by yourself and working on a problem, and it's fascinating. It's one of the most beautiful things. You're like, wow, this is an amazing problem. How am I going to solve this? Wow. Reduce with JavaScript works like this. This is amazing. JavaScript functional programming is one of the coolest things ever. This is so cool, right? So those things could be great. Yo, guys, actually, after this, I would like to do like a speed run on Free Code Camp or something for JavaScript. That could be a lot of fun. Sick. Just like going through as fast as possible. That could be fun. So cool. Yep. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, Misk says, you guys had a free coding boot camp. We owe you. Thank you, man. I appreciate that very, very much. The reason why I had these here, I was going to talk about this earlier, but like go here, look at designs, and then when you get inspiration, see if you guys want to work on this type of stuff too. Like this is important. So go to places where you could get inspiration of what to work on. So if you want to improve your front end skills, go and like look at this stuff and go, ooh, what's cool about this? Let me work on the front end of this type of app. Okay, if you're a back-end developer, you might look at something like this and go, you know what? Maybe I'll work on the back end of an app like this. Great, go do that. Do that with JavaScript. Okay. Cool. So let's get out of here. Right? Because all of this, guys, is JavaScript and stuff like that at the end of the day, right? Like what happens when I click this meet button? Oh, it gets added to some kind of cart. Okay, so let's just say that, right? Or what happens when I hit this watch video button? Maybe this video starts playing right here. Oh, how do I make buttons work? Oh, there might be a concept of something. So when you're doing these functions here, they're going to freaking work exactly hand to hand with what you're trying to do, right? Here, there's DOM. When you learn about DOM and you learn how to manipulate DOM, now you're going to be able to do stuff like this. Okay, this is very real world stuff. Cool. Awesome. So let's go back here. Okay. And we've talked about toxic relationships and the power of cutting out of them. And one last thing I'm going to hit on is imposter syndrome. Okay. And this is something that every developer experiences. Maybe you experienced it as well. If you do, again, let me know. I'd love to hear from you. But this is essentially like you feeling like you're, how do we, let's look up an actual definition of it, right? Like, let's look that up. Imposter syndrome. And the technical definition might mean loosely defined as doubting your abilities and feeling like a fraud. Okay. It disproportionately affects high-achieving people who find it difficult to accept their accomplishments. Many question whether they're deserving of accolades. All right? Doubting your abilities and feeling like a fraud. So let's go back and we'll go here and paste that. Okay? That's really what it is. If any of you feel that, raise your hands. Proverbially raise your hands in the chat. So something important, right? I'm looking in the comments. Michael says, that's me. Awesome for being able to admit that, Michael. Very powerful to be able to do that. Very, very powerful. Tuna No Crust says, don't worry, guys. You get used to the imposter syndrome. Never goes away, but it gets better. Okay, thank you for sharing that. Tuna says, also raises his hand and says he feels similarly with the imposter syndrome. Jitendra raises his hand and says, I feel similar. Greg raises his hands. Okay. And Greg, if you feel the imposter syndrome, I would love to jump on a video call with you if you would like. Okay. So if you want, you can text there. You don't have to. Okay. It's totally cool. But if you send a text message at that number, we could bring you on this live. I'd love to kind of have a conversation with some of you guys and kind of get into it. Cool. Greg, yep. Raising his hands. Me. Kunal says me. Yep. Tuna No Crust, actually, interestingly enough, says, I'm a senior software developer and it still gets me. Yo, Tuna, I would love to have you on the platform as well. Okay? So do me a favor, send a message there and let's see if we can bring you on. That's awesome. Julia says, I feel like I could never catch up even when I start at the beginning. Yep. So it's a really powerful thing. And actually, a lot of us, let me see. I'll bring this down here so you guys can see that. Okay. So it seems like a lot of us feel that, right? A lot of people are raising their hands. A lot of people are saying, I feel that. And Saram just said me. So it's funny. With coding, with things like coding and things like intellectual things, because they're so intangible, you'll often feel that for a really long time. For me, it's quieter, but it's always there with a bunch of things. Like, especially with coding, it's there. It's like, oh, these people on Stack Overflow know everything. What do I know? But then like I'm coding up crazy shit, but then I'm still like in my mind doubting myself. So one of the things that Tuna Crust says, there's a lot of power to that. And he goes, yo, you might actually feel that forever. But the idea is either you keep working through it every single day, and it might start getting quieter to the point where you can't hear it anymore. And really what's happening is you're building proof for your brain, right? So for example, your brain is like, gravity is a thing. What's the proof? If I take this wallet and I drop it, proof, right? If I take this thing and drop it, more proof. If I take my phone, drop it, proof. Proof. Eventually, the evidence becomes so overwhelming that your brain is like, oh, okay, maybe I know what the hell I'm doing, right? So the times where you feel least like a fraud is the time you're most into it and working at something and you're like, man, I feel great, okay? So this is one of the things that's very debilitating for a lot of developers. But one thing that can help you is like, you don't have to, one thing I can say that can help you is like, no, you're not alone. We all feel it. We all feel it. Okay? And sometimes it might go away for you. And I think that would be so great. And that would be like such an amazing feeling. And there will be times you feel it. But then there will be times that it's there. But the difference between the people who make it to the top in the developer game versus those who don't, how you let it affect you. If you let it affect you to the point where it's debilitating, you're going to get into this, okay? Like, for example, if, does anybody know what's the best way to starve fear? Does anybody know what is nutrition for fear? Okay. So nutrition for fear. Thank you for another donation. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, is time. If you give fear time, it keeps growing, right? So if I draw fear, fear will keep growing like this. Okay, on the x-axis, I have time. And the y can be fear. Okay, so fear keeps growing over time. How do you starve fear? Take away time. Boom, dead. Okay, just face the freaking thing. So if you're feeling like a fraud, go and code. Go and learn about coding. Do more coding. Make projects. It starts to go away. It starts to evaporate every single freaking time. The more you linger on it, the more you let it last, it will keep growing more and more and more as time progresses. So what you want to do is you don't want to let it become this big, giant monster over time. It's called Screen Brush, by the way. Yeah, thank you. Somebody dropped that in the comment. Interesting. So we have some comments coming in. Shorf says, was messing with the official React repo, reading the code, and I felt like a freaking imposter in JavaScript world. So think about that. React is built by Facebook. Facebook has been coding for like 15 to 20 years. They have hundreds of thousands of developers on their team who collectively have like hundreds of thousands of years of experience and development and time and all of this, right? And you're getting the best of the biggest breakthroughs of probably freaking hundreds of thousands of people working on this repo and building it to what it is today. And you're getting that final finished piece. And then you're reading that and you go, oh, it doesn't make that much sense to me. Of course it's not making that much sense. It's not supposed to make sense to you. It's there. If they can simplify it to those levels, great. But think about it. It's almost like, it's funny the way that I'm going to say this because that's how my brain thinks. My brain is like, sure, of how dare you think that it would make sense to you? It's like almost like what you might, the audacity that you have to think. For me, I'm like, it's not supposed to make sense to me. You know, I haven't spent that much time. Like, if you have E equals MC squared, Yes, you can say it and you can repeat it and you can regurgitate what you might have learned in your physics class, but like we could spend the rest of our lives, die, be reborn, then die again, then be reborn again, then die again, and we might not get it at the deep level understanding or the internalization that like Einstein experienced and had when he understands that as a concept. Some of this stuff is hard. So one thing that helps is how you set your expectations. If you set your expectations to, I'm supposed to understand this, I'm supposed to have gotten this by now, that's where imposter syndrome comes in a lot. Okay. So for me, when I'm doing a lot of this stuff, I don't let that get to me. I'm like, I'm not supposed to get it. I'm supposed to, but I'm like working at it. So when I don't get it or perfectly clicks, I'm not that hard on myself. I'm a lot more relaxed, right? And then I'm like, oh, cool. Like, I'm just going to get through this. Cool. I'll figure this out. I'll figure this out too. It's like the world is a playground, I'm just playing everywhere. Like, let's go. Like, whoa, that's crazy. Here's another concept. I don't get it, but cool. I'll get it tomorrow probably. Still didn't get it. Let's try it again next week. So keep going, and I keep going, and I keep going, and I keep going, and I keep going. And then at some point it clicks, things click, and I'm like, whoa, that's what this is? That's what they were saying in the React repo? Oh my God, like 4 years later, it clicks and it makes sense. But I think just being hard on yourself is what leads you to expect that you should know this right now, which then starts putting you in this weird cycle, which is like, I should know this by now. I don't know this by now. Now, if I don't know this, does my friend know that I don't know this? Am I going to get caught? Oh, I shouldn't tell anybody that I don't know this. And then it's this weird world that you might become a part of. All right. So I think those are some of my thoughts that I want to share with you on this. So Shoref, like basically what I'm saying is it's okay for you to experience that, but more importantly for you to know that it's okay and that it's natural for you to not fully grasp everything in the React, docs. The real fat boy says that's a real TEDx talk. Let's go. The goal is to do those one day. That'll be super exciting. Yeah. You don't know everything. By default, you should assume that you likely don't know. You'll learn. Like, think about it like this. Elon Musk is, most of us can agree that he's a very intelligent and capable human being, right? He's very intelligent. But when he walks in, the thing that most people say about him is that he asks the most amount of questions in the room. He's one of the most curious people. So if he's learning, so should you be. Okay? The default in your mind, the expectation is I'm not going to, I'll learn this, but I don't think I should, freaking understand this. But if I do, that's great. Play to understand it, but remove the expectation. Okay? That's really, really, that's really key. For me, that freed me up a lot. Like when my parents would be like, you have to get an A. For me, it was like, well, now that I have to get an A with an expectation and the most I can do is get an A. And if I get an A, all they're going to say to me is you did a good job. Or all they're going to say to me is like, oh, that's cool. Like, now we're not going to, basically like it's expected to get an A. Then that for me wasn't exciting. I'm like, screw this. I'm just going to get Fs. That's pretty stupid, right? But that's how it worked in my brain. But if my parents were like, if you get any grade, that'd be amazing. It makes me want to then get an A. So when I remove the expectation, I'm very happy and I operate at very high levels. When I have the expectation, it takes the joy of life away from me. It's not that I don't perform under that, it's that it takes the joy away. And when it takes the joy away, I'm very less likely to continue doing it. So when you think about coding, how are you going to become a great coder? I need to be doing this for a prolonged period of time. How do I do this for a prolonged period of time? To make it enjoyable, right? Then when I go to the React docs and they're not enjoyable, then I'm not going to continue doing this and I'm going to start hating it. I'm going to start developing anxiety around coding and then I'm going to probably quit coding in 3 to 5 years. And if you do that, you'll never become one of the best. However, if you switch up the game and you go, how can I do this in a way where I enjoy this and it's going to be really, really fun? then play the game that way. I'm not supposed to get the React docs. Of course I'm not going to get it. Oh, I got it. I got 1% of it. Yo, that's exciting. That makes you want to read more and understand more, doesn't it? So play the game where it's fun. Because if it's fun, you're going to do it for a long term. If you do it for a long term, you're going to beat everybody else. That's just how it works. Coding with Kenny says, because being a jack of all trades is not the most efficient way to success. Instead, master one concept at a time and it'll be much more effective. Yes. Yassine says, thanks, man, but it feels impossible to master vanilla JS. Yeah, vanilla JavaScript is like a bajillion things. You're never really going to master it. Nobody has. There's so many weird rabbit holes you could go down. Like you could go down a rabbit hole of bits and bytes and spend the next 30 years on that and then write a research paper and then die. And that's all you accomplished, right? Like that's the crazy thing about this world. Like you could go so deep into things that you could go crazy into them, right? Just like understanding logic gates. Oh, how do the logic gates work? Like you're going to go crazy. So the point is not to do that. What's your goal? Like, is your goal to master vanilla JavaScript? Then that's maybe. If that's your goal in life, okay, cool. Then like start pursuing it. But also understand you might need 20 lifetimes to be able to do that. Plus like the powers and skills of a quantum computer and a supercomputer installed into your brain. So understand that how hard that goal is. Then you're setting yourself up to be disappointed, right? That's what you might be doing here. You might be setting yourself up to be disappointed, and then you're disappointed, and then you're like, I don't know why I'm disappointed. Then you're even more upset at yourself, and then it's just bad. Then you're just unhappy, then you're depressed. Then you come to code with a shitty energy, and then you're not learning anything, so it gets worse and worse, right? But if you set a goal like, I want to use JavaScript, or even forgetting JavaScript, I want to actually build this app because I think it could help people. I want to build this website for this restaurant. I think it's going to help them. I want to build a new type of social networking app. Then you work on that, and then these are just tools to help you get there. Okay, JavaScript is just a tool. Then you're not sitting there like, I want to master vanilla JS. That's like a crazy hard goal to achieve, right? Tuna No Crust says, coding with Kenny is correct. Best to take bite-sized chews when you're just starting out and focus your efforts in a couple things until you're proficient, then move on to the next. Absolutely. Now, guys, one huge thing I do want to say is, of course, smash the like button. Always helps so freaking much. Turn that thing blue, and I would really, really appreciate that. The other thing I do want to say is, if you guys go to javascripttour.com, okay, we have one of the biggest events that we're going to be doing. It's going to be very, very exciting. I'm like super freaking pumped about it. We're going to be doing this event. It's going to be brilliant, and it's going to be in person, and it's going to be happening in Los Angeles, and this is the first time we're doing it, and we're scared of doing it, but that's also really, really exciting. So like, I'm going to get to see you in person. The team is going to get to see you in person, okay? And let's see maybe if I can play this video for you. 3-day. Whoa. Wait, how do I make this thing go away? Thank you for another super chat. Really appreciate you. Let me make this go away real quick. Okay. Let's go to this. In-person JavaScript bootcamp. This event is designed for anybody that's thinking about changing their career, becoming a software developer. You're either a beginner right now, or you keep getting stuck in tutorial hell and not being able to make progress. This is the in-person event, workshop, bootcamp for you. This is going to be an absolutely mind-blowing experience. You're going to learn HTML, CSS, you're going to learn JavaScript, you're even going to learn React. We're going to build projects. We're going to build a portfolio. We're going to put these projects on those portfolios. We're also going to give you interview tips, how to get your dream job, and the opportunity for development is just insane. And JavaScript and React developers are making $100,000 a year, if not more. So if all of those things sound exciting to you, and the idea of a 3-day intense bootcamp in person excites you, I mean, this is post-pandemic, so we can actually do these in person now. And that's why I'm so excited, because never before has this been done at Clever Programmer. And we have a huge Clever Programmer gang. You guys are absolutely unbelievable. So we thought, hey, how about let's bring everybody in and let's do a live in-person event with 100 to 200 people. How insane is that going to be? So if this is something that's exciting to you and you want to sign up for it, click the button below, sign up for this event. We're going to give you more details as we find out. Make sure that if you're in a different state, you can fly in. If you're already in LA, then you're good to go. So there you guys go. Okay. You just have to block out 3 days. Definitely it's going to be on Friday, jump Saturday, into this Sunday, and each day is going to be about 8 to 10 hours long. So yeah, each day is going to be 8 to 10 hours long. Just go to javascripttour.com, type in JavaScript Tour, and book this out. We're going to be increasing the prices pretty soon, in just a couple of days, and we're going to get sold out. We're already at like 50 or 60 people that have booked it. So we only have a few seats left. So I want you to be there. I hope that I get to see you guys in person. That would be so freaking amazing. Would love to see you guys in person. If you guys can do it, please show up, man, because I've been doing this for so long. It's like almost half a decade I've been making these videos on coding, software development, Python, JavaScript, web scraping, making front-end apps, back-end apps, full-stack development, all of this stuff. But one thing I've always wanted to experience is being able to meet you guys in person, being able to work with you guys in person. That human connection has been something that's been missing for a really long time. And honestly, not even for any other reason, just like fulfillment and happiness and excitement. And I believe that you guys can get such big breakthroughs. You know, if we work together in person, you, me, the team will be there and we'll be working directly with you, right? So like we'll be sitting there helping you code. I'll be like, hey, give me your laptop. Let's do it like this. Let's work on this app. Giving you real-time feedback, you know, working with you 8 to 10 hours a day for 3 days. So we're going to be August 6th through 8th. We're going to be doing this. So if you can make it, that would be awesome. You know, if you're in the chat, I'm just going through the chat right now. Cool. Took me 3.5 years to get over 100K. It's definitely doable. Oh, by the way, that's really freaking awesome. Tuna No Crust is making over $100,000 a year. That's fantastic. And it took him 3.5 years to do that. Definitely doable goal. So that's a really good freaking accomplishment, by the way. But for those of you guys, yeah, some of you guys won't be able to make it. I understand. I know you guys are in a different country. I know somebody said they're in Nigeria. That's going to be difficult. But if any of you guys are in US, I would love to have you, you know, come here to this event. If you are able to come here, do let me know in the YouTube chat. That'd be great. But go here, reserve your spot, and I would love to have you guys here, okay? Don't miss out on this. It's going to be a life-changing experience. This is going to be epic. We're going to start doing more of these as time progresses, but this is going to be the first one and probably one of the best ones we're going to do, okay? So definitely show up there. With that said, let me go and see. I have been a developer for 6 years. Oh shit, son. Tuna No Crush just said, I've been a developer for 6 years, currently make $208,000 in the Midwest. That is epic. That is epic. Really, really solid work. And this goes to show a lot of people that not only can you break through a 6-figure salary as a developer, but you can also start going to multiple 6 figures as a developer as well. Okay. And Tuna No Crust, what types of languages are you using? Like what frameworks are you using on a daily basis? Are you doing front end, back end, data science, Python, JavaScript? What are you doing? I'd like to know more about that too. And I think it'd bring value to everybody who's here. It's different for me because I went in independent and incorporated. Got it. Yep. That can help too. If you're going fully independent and doing it, you can then set your own rates and things like that. But you also get more risk involved as well, just because there's not that much job guarantee. But if you can handle that risk and you're tolerant enough to do that, then it might actually be a great option for you. Awesome. So this has been really good. If you guys have questions, I'd love to take some of your guys' questions right now. I'm scanning for them. But if you guys don't have that many questions, then I'm going to start wrapping it up. Okay, so I'm going to stay on here for another like 30 seconds to a minute. If you guys have questions, you want to put them down in the chat, I'd love to bring them up and address them for you guys. Yeah, I know, Naman. It's been a while, but I want to start doing these lives again. This is actually really fun, and I miss this aspect of connecting with people. And I'd love to even start bringing you guys on the show now. And I think that'd be even more fun. We should build we should start building some kind of community where you can start bringing them on. That'd be sick, like a Slack channel on the side, and then you can be talking to them, you know? Yeah. Or Discord, his favorite. Age may be a hurdle for developers. I am unlucky because there is no scope of coding in my country. So coding is worldwide. You can be in any country in the world, and you can be coding for a German market. You could be coding for a US market. You could be coding for Canadian market. Like, it doesn't matter. You can be coding for anyone, anywhere. You are unlucky because your brain has given into the fact that it should make you believe that you're unlucky. So that's the unlucky part about this, because I won't be able to change your mind if you have a belief that you're unlucky. Like, if you have this belief, you're screwed for the rest of your life. Like, that sucks. And that will be like a very painful, like the rest of your life will be very painful. So, what I would share with you, what I would tell you is the most dangerous thing I hear in that sentence is that it starts with I am unlucky. And it doesn't matter what thing that you put there, you're screwed. You're never going to make it, regardless of what you're doing. Okay? So if you can figure out how you can take that away and start to see, then you start to empower yourself, because right now you're not in power. Everybody else is in power. I am unlucky because of this. I can't do this because of this. Great. Then that means the other person has a power. They'll have a great life. They'll do all the things they want to do. You will be in the corner crying, complaining that you're unlucky. So what I would recommend is figure out how to not feel like you're unlucky, okay? And one way to start that is to just stop using sentences like that and to stop saying it. That would be the first place I'd start, okay? Next place is I'd look, hey, what can I do? Okay? Because what can't you do is a very different question than what can I do, okay? Your brain will surprise. Like, if I ask my brain, what can't I do? I'll be like, I can't sing. What else? I can't be a great rapper. Here's some other really, really good ones. I'll like never be LeBron James. I'll never be a great basketball player. Oh man, I'm on fire right now. I'll never be Elon Musk. Probably Jeff Bezos. Not really. I'll never have a great e-commerce business. Like, whoo, right? Whereas you ask your brain the other question, what can I do? And all of a sudden it becomes great. Well, I can have a great YouTube channel. I could have the best YouTube channel on coding on planet Earth. I could have the best YouTube channel on how to create a YouTube channel on planet Earth. I could be working and helping transforming so many people's lives. And then things change. Okay, so for example, yeah, that's what I would share with you, okay? So, you know, that's a difficult place to be at. I definitely have empathy. When you're in that place, you can't see your way out of there. So that's the dangerous thing. My goal is to jolt you across the screen. and shake you, because I'm only going to get this one shot to really help you, beast. So my goal is just to shake you and yank you in the 1 minute, 3 minute conversation I can have with you, which is also one way. And I want to get as much across as I can. So if I have to do that in a shocking way to wake you up, I will. But my goal is to help transform your belief around you thinking you're unlucky. Okay? I want you to start thinking about where is opportunity. You can be crushing it. Like, dude, that is so much bullshit. That is the biggest bullshit message I've read today or in a really long time. Because I go on Code Mentor and there are developers from Nigeria and Kenya that are charging $15 to $20 per 15 minutes. That's a $80 an hour hourly rate that they're charging. And they're on Code Mentor IO teaching people code. People are signing up and paying them. They have thousands of reviews. The only reason you're saying this is because you might suck at coding. And now you're saying unlucky to hide behind the fact that your skill level is just trash. So you might hide behind it for now by saying this, and you might be able to trick people around you, your friends around you, your family members around you. It might make you feel great, but remember, in the long run, you're stealing from yourself, and you're not going to get to where you personally want to get to in life, okay? So my goal is to kind of just like flash that mirror and help you see, okay? Because you can certainly be killing it. You can be killing it. But if your skill level is bad, nobody's going to hire you. It doesn't matter what country you live in. But if you're good, people are going to hire you, dude. Developing is such a hardcore, important skill, and it's so hard to find good developers. Your biggest advantage can be you just being a good developer. It's ridiculous to say that, but so many developers are so bad. So if you're just a good developer and you have maybe somewhat decent communication skills, you're going to do really, really well. But Beast, you're going to have to let go of a lot of this victim mentality, okay? So there's a lot of possibility out there for you, and I think you will be able to do great. Those are my parting words for you. Hey, I'm Kingsley, a software developer, and I'm finding it hard to find what people are willing to pay for so that I can use my skills in tech to create a solution. What do you think I should do? Okay, so instead of looking what people are willing to pay for, what I'd recommend you do is go to conferences and look for where they need help. What are their problems in software development? What are the problems in coding that they're facing? When you start discovering their problems and caring about people's problems, you might be able, like, it's very tactical, okay? So it's not that woo-woo. You could go to a conference, start talking to a couple of CEOs, start talking to a couple of software developers. Go, where do you guys face problems? Oh, I don't have an e-commerce developer, and we want to do this and this and this. E-commerce might be a place I could help. Great. Write that down. You talk to another one. They're like, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we could use a developer that understands e-commerce really well. Another person that could use a developer that understands e-commerce. You keep getting that and you go, oh my God, e-commerce can actually be a huge thing where I can help a lot of people. And then you reach out to those two people and go, hey, would you like if I could help you? And I can even start helping you for free. Or I can help you for this rate. I'd love to be able to help you. I think these are, but like really deeply understand their problem instead of looking for what people are willing to pay for, because you're going to keep playing that game forever. But if you innovate on, there's a great book that even Naz was reading and recommended to me, Blue Ocean Strategy. Instead of innovating on an offer that people are willing to pay for, innovate on value. So build a relationship and then go, where can I help? Dude, a person like you, and I don't mean this in any disrespect, but like any software developer, most of you guys just need one freaking client and then you're set for like a year, a few years. So like, It's not a game about like a massive high volume. You just need a few developers, like 100K, 200K. Like that's not that hard to make that money. Like there are people making billions of dollars. Like 100, 200K is like nothing. I don't mean to say it in a disrespectful way. I mean to say it as like there's so much abundance out there. There's a lot of money for you and for everybody who's on here. There's so much money you can all make. And there's so much value you can provide as a software developer, a JavaScript developer, full stack developer. But the trick is to just build those relationships and really search for where there are problems. What are the problems? And you need to talk to real people. Otherwise, you're just going to be sitting here looking up online, trying to find a niche, and you'll never find anything. Because everything you have ever thought of is done or is not done because it sucks, or there's already somebody really good at it. And then you're just going to be like, all right, back to watching Netflix. I guess I tried. So that's what I would say. And I think that would help you a lot. All right. Coding with Kenny says, sounds good. We'll be building a ton of projects. Would it be a good idea to learn React next after Node.js and Express? Sure. My thing is, instead of focusing on what to learn next, focus on what you're building and what you're making. So instead of a technology-based focus, a building-based focus. Okay? So like, do you need to learn React for the next project that you're building? Is it going to be UI development heavy? Okay, great. Then learn React. Does the app that you want to build, will it require a backend? Great. Then learn Node. And then does it require a lot of path routing and shit like that? Okay, cool. Then learn Express. So start with what you're doing. And then if you need to learn these as tools, then keep learning them. Alex Campusano, I only have 1 year of experience and good jobs ask for a minimum of 3 years. How can I prove that I am a good candidate of React.js? Relationships. Or 5 years of experience. You choose. It's totally up to you. But that's really the game. Either you build relationships with people and you build a connection and you offer to help and then you get in that way and you will have a lot of chances, or you just go head to head with somebody who's a badass on a piece of paper. And if they have 3 years or 5 years, you're crushed. You're destroyed. You're not going to get that job. Or maybe you can, in your resume, somehow highlight that you bring something else to the table. But that's so hard to play that game on a piece of paper. If you want to play that game on a piece of paper, you just have to be a better offer than the other person, and that becomes really hard. So instead, your advantage might be bring that to real life. Start speaking with people. Start asking what they need. Start asking people who are running React companies. Go to React conferences and talk to people there. Build relationships there. A developer might know a developer that needs a developer. Okay? So those, again, why these tactics work for most of you people and most people who are looking for a job, you just need 1 or 2 clients. You're good. Literally for like the next 3 years most of the times, the next couple of years. So it's worth doing. Why I wouldn't recommend this to a business is it would be too random. And business cares about how to generate a client after a client after a client after a client. So I wouldn't give this advice as somebody who wants to run a business. But for most people, just need a few good, solid clients, and then you're set for a really long time. Whoa, that's cool. Tuna No Crust says, I used to work in a prison before I became a developer. Was not a technical guy at all. Damn. Yo, Tuna, we got to bring you on the show, man. Send us a message. Did he send us a message yet? Okay. Tuna, my team is DMing you on Instagram. So respond either there or send a text message, but we want to bring you on, bro. That's a really great story. From a prisoner to a developer that makes $200,000 a year. Wow. Shreya's code says, hey Kazi, got my internship as a React developer without having a software developer degree, only because by watching your videos. Thanks a lot, man. Respect. You got it. That's amazing to hear. That makes me really, really happy. Great job, Shreyas. I see Luke's message. Corrections officer. That's great. We're even thinking about like going to prisons and offering to help them and actually teach them coding. I think that'd be really freaking cool. But we don't know where to even start. So like Tuna, we might be able to use your help there. That would be great. Because yeah, we have no idea who to speak to about that. We have no idea, you know. But we know that's something we would like to be able to do. Whoa, that's so cool. This is crazy. Tuna says, I went to a coding bootcamp because I wanted to change careers. Best decision I've ever made. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Yeah, a lot of people who are joining coding bootcamps, this is their main thing. Get somewhere, change careers fast, and then keep going. You know, that's why we launched our coding bootcamp too. That's what we do with people. We're like, hey, get here. And most of the people that join are looking to change their careers. Within a couple of months, we have them change their careers, get a job as a software developer, and they're freaking happy. And I think that's why they're popular. So that's awesome. Okay. I'm going through your guys' messages, okay? Oh, nice. Alex, thank you for the donation. Really appreciate you. Really appreciate you. It says, to be employed, learn a lot of things or master one. Just depends what job you're trying to get. My thing is to get employed, work, and build awesome, deep projects. And that will speak for you a lot more than anything else. Okay. Joe Hunger asks, can I get a freelancing job with only HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, and JavaScript? Absolutely. I have worked my ass off coding for 2 years, made so many projects, helped so many friends who are in the industry, but I am unable to secure a software engineer job. Worked 2 years, made so many projects, helped so many friends from the industry, but there might be another problem there. There might be something different. Like maybe you have trouble securing interviews. Maybe you have trouble passing either the culture fit interviews or the technical interviews. But there's something else happening there. And what's your pipeline of jobs that you're applying to? How many interviews are you getting on a regular basis? Okay. Are you doing it in a disciplined way? Do you have are you reaching out to 100 companies and getting maybe 5 interviews and then going through that process and then doing that week after week? If you're not, that might be the answer. Okay. So it's also not going to just happen randomly. You can help people all you want, but if you don't specifically ask for what you need, go to those specific job interviews, and then you're not going to secure that specific job. Okay. So that might be for a different reason. Luke X asks, clever programmer, I've been practicing React for months and I want to learn some backend to make apps interactive. What do you suggest? Sure. You can learn Node, and that would be great. You can make your apps interactive, okay? Or Firebase. You can even learn Firebase and kind of get rid of Node, and then Firebase gives you a backend too. So my personal preference is just jump on the Firebase bandwagon. I was not a prisoner. No, I know that. I know that. It's funny. Just a corrections officer. It's funny. Kazi never said you were a prisoner, Canal says. That's funny too. Terrence Ford says, almost done with Team Tree House full stack JavaScript. Can someone let me know what I would need to learn to be desirable to a company? I do want to freelance, but baby steps. Cool. So yeah, start with something in terms of baby steps. I would say, again, if you're already learning these things, focus on building projects, putting them on your portfolio. Those are what make you desirable to a company. I want to come and go, okay, let's get past the bullshit. Let's get an interview. Terrence, show me your projects. Okay, great. That project is garbage. I don't care. I'm not going to say that to you, but that's what I'm thinking. Oh, cool. Okay, now within the projects, let's see. Scanning through the code. Okay, he's using some React. He looks like he knows some Redux. Okay, cool. What else? Looking through his commits. Oh, his commits are bad. I don't want to bring this person on. Or, oh, he has careful commits. Okay, this looks good. The code looks very clean. That's great. He has some documentation in the GitHub that where he has his code. Okay, cool. What are some other projects? What are some other things he's working on? Okay, cool. Seems like beginner, but somebody I can teach. Let me give this person an opportunity. Cool, man. All right, Terrence, let's start working. Let's do a week-long shadowing with our company. If you're a good fit, maybe we can extend an offer to you. Okay, so those might be certain examples, or they might just be like, hey, this is great. Freaking you start tomorrow. But project is going to be a really important piece of the puzzle. Because another thing we can do, guys, is like we can have people lined up who maybe want to show us projects. And then I can have one-on-one sessions, like live coding, interview, and going through the projects, you know? And like roasting or whatever, but like making it entertaining, right? And then we can put that. But this would also help us start a community. So if you guys want to start a community, we can start linking people to that community too. And then Amanath can start adding people. So you can start a Slack group or Discord, it doesn't matter. And then Amanath can help manage that as well. That could be great. Watching from Philippines. Awesome. That's cool, bro. That's awesome. Okay. Shoref says, do you think serverless will replace backend? I don't think it will completely replace it, just because there are going to be a lot of people that are going to keep doing it. But yeah, I mean, you could use serverless to essentially replace backend, and I prefer it that way. I really enjoy coding things like that. I rarely ever have backends. Most of my backends are serverless, and I love that. I just honestly feel like it's much easier. You don't have to focus on your backend. You don't have to work on making your backend scalable. None of those things. Like all of that should automatically be handled. And you could use AWS, you could use Versal, you could use Firebase. I mean, everybody is now having like a serverless happen. So my personal preference is to go more towards serverless, but of course, both are possible. Cool. All right. Amazing, you guys. This has been phenomenal. I would definitely recommend, if you guys want to join, and come to the live tour, just go to javascripttour.com. Can we please put this in the description? Description?
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Description and also chat?
Okay, chat. Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, just add, you can go to this JavaScript tour. It's happening in Los Angeles. All right. August 6th through 8th. So happening in 2 to 3 weeks. Okay. This is where it's happening. This is how much it is. And this helps us kind of cover the cost of the event. And yeah, that's it. We wanted to make it as inexpensive for you guys as possible, honestly, so everybody can show up. The only 2 reasons we even decided to charge is, number 1, so we can cover the cost of the event. And then number 2 is so you show up. Because every time we make something for free, people stop showing up on day 2 and day 3. And so that's the only goal of this. If you're going to pay, we know you're going to pay attention. You're going to show up. So go get this. It's going to get booked out. It's going to get shut down. But I would love to have you there. And I would love to work with you in person. Go through training, hardcore training. Build the projects. Like, I want to have you leaving there like, oh my God, my mind has exploded. But, you know, even if we can help you get projects on your portfolio or just give you that juice, which we're going to be doing a lot here, our goal is to really have a life transformative effect, you know, in those 3 days. So show up. It's going to be a lot of freaking fun. It's going to be great energy, and we'd love to have you guys there. Other than that, thank you guys so much for watching this video. This is your boy Kazi. As always, if you like this, you want to become a JavaScript or React developer, subscribe to the goddamn channel. Okay, do that right now. Put the notification bells on. Smash that like button. Turn that thing blue. I love your beautiful face. And as always, I'll see you in the next video.